Today we're talking about some color theory basics, and we're specifically going to focus on those earthy, muted color tones that are perfect for both interior design and graphic design, which I'll show you in a little bit. Now, before we get started with our earthy, muted tones, let's quickly revisit the basics of color theory. Color is a powerful tool for visual communication, and understanding how colors interact with each other can significantly impact mood and the perceptions of your designs. Here we have our basic color wheel, which you may be familiar with, and in this video, we're honing in on those muted earthy tones, which are often derived from the natural world. These tones are perfect for creating peaceful, inviting, sometimes warm or cool or grounded aesthetics with a down-to-earth vibe. And later we're going to look at some design examples that utilize these earthy muted tones. So these earthy tones include subdued shades of olive greens, warm browns, dusty oranges, and soft grays, and these colors are known for their versatility and ability to evoke a sense of calm and connection to nature. You might notice a lot of interior design uses these colors, especially in more cozy modern housing decor or coffee shops, specialty shops like boutiques and leather goods stores. And again, a possible reason for that is the calming, peaceful vibe that can come from these colors, as they symbolize natural elements like trees, rocks, mud, or sand. These colors are very tame on your eyes too, so there's no vibrant, alarming signals going to your brain like with intense RGB colors. Just like interior design, the same effect can take place with your graphic design as well. So let's look at some examples. What you're probably noticing here is how the darker, or what you might call the thicker colors, work really well with the lighter tone color of the background or the actual physical product color. So if we're talking about t-shirt design, you're likely going to see that trendy sand color or a super light tan as the actual t-shirt or hoodie color, and then your design is going to make up those darker or thicker colors that make up the components of the design. Maybe it's the muted muddy blue or the earthy red or forest green, and there's a lot of really fantastic and attractive design styles that utilize earthy tones, from retro or vintage to 90s nostalgia or bohemian, mystical, or even Western design, and much more. Now let's talk about how to experiment and work with these beautiful tones in your design projects. And I've got 3 tips for you to consider as you start selecting these colors and formulating your design. One is to pay attention to contrast. Achieving contrast in your design is the key, and colors can obviously help you achieve this. So the proper mix of color between light and darker shades within your palette will create contrast and keep your design dynamic. For example, we have this design here with an earthy color palette, but because the background shirt and the design color are so close, it's difficult to interpret what's going on. We simply change the background color to a lighter tone, we instantly get much better contrast, and the design is easy to decipher against the background. So while the earthy tones are pretty muted, you can still experiment and find accent colors that will work with your darker backgrounds, or vice versa, using darker, muddier colors on your lighter backgrounds. Number 2 is to layer textures. Muted earthy tones work exceptionally well when you play with different textures, and you want to think about incorporating the natural materials like wood or paper, sand or stone or fabric to enhance the overall feel. For example, we have this stellar shirt design right here with muted earth tones through and through, but watch what happens when I add a fabric texture to it. And now this is going to depend on what your use case is with your design. Is it going to be on a packaging design or a stationery design, a t-shirt or merch design? All of these mediums are going to play a role in the texture of your design, and so you want to experiment with some samples if you're able to see how the materials interact with your digital textures, because sometimes the natural texture of the fabric or the grain of a certain paper will be enough. And tip number 3, the last tip I have, is to use organic fonts and elements in your designs. My reasoning for this is based on how naturalistic the overall vibe is. The earthy tones are obviously being taken from nature, so it would make sense that we want to continue to provide that organic style by using organic shaped illustrations or elements, as well as a more rounded or organic looking font, as opposed to something that's super sharp. For example, you can see this design here. We have a beautiful earthy color palette, some organic shaped illustrations in the middle, but the typography just feels way too sharp here. If we simply are aware of this and just change it to something more naturally shaped, the cohesion and the unity of the design becomes much better and just feels better overall. So now I hope you're feeling inspired and confident with how to utilize these earthy muted tones in your project. Perhaps these colors will be fitting for your next project, or maybe you've just been wanting to try it out and trying to figure out how you can create a cohesive design. If you have any other questions related to color theory, please let us know down in the description. We'd be happy to tackle those. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss videos just like this. And if you haven't tried out Kittl yet, which is where you have been seeing all of these designs come from, which is right in Kittl, go ahead and sign up using the link down in the description. Check out the promo code linked in the comments below to get your percentage off so you can try that pro plan out. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you you in the next video.